Yay, the kids are finally asleep.
So do you feel like...
Playing a game?
I've got a feeling a boss fight's coming up.
Ooh, I just got wrecked.
Headshot, baby.
Ooh, it's your turn to get the baby.
So are you up to the challenge?
Run, 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 run.
And we're dead.
That's when I realized I have no idea what I'm doing.
GG. Welcome back to another episode of the Gamer Parents Podcast. My name is Kevin, and I'm joined by my wonderful wife, Joanne.
Hello, everyone.
If you're new here, Joanne and I are a married couple. We have 2 kids, and we love gaming. We are parents who game, gamers who parent.
That's us.
So I turn it to my co-pilot here, Joanne, and I want to ask you, how has your week been?
In life, the week's been going great. I think you've taken some off days as well from work.
I have, yes, which is always the best.
Yeah, so that was wonderful considering we have more time to spend together with the kids. I mean, we went out for a breakfast on a weekday, so it's not crowded. And
Yeah, I mean, I never get to do that normally.
yeah, that's something that we enjoy once in a while, right, with the kids. Being out in the morning in a not so crowded restaurant.
When it wasn't crowded. Yeah.
Definitely. And what else did we get to do this week? We attended your company's Christmas party?
Yes.
Or Christmas dinner, I mean.
Yeah. So I guess a little bit of backstory on that. So yeah, my company had their Christmas party on Friday.
Yeah.
And last year we went, and it was a blast. It was also happened to be a super spreader event for COVID as well, so everybody got sick, including us, last year. And we didn't really want a repeat of that, so we decided not to go to the company party. But my team at least does like a dinner beforehand, so we still got to go out, dress up and have dinner with the team. And then just kind of skipped out on the party part afterwards.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Can't afford to miss Christmas and New Year's like we did again last year.
Yeah, I guess this last year wasn't... I mean, the party was great. It was fun. But since it was like a few days before Christmas, so we were just super sick for Christmas and New Year's. And, it wasn't just us we have to think about, also with our kids and everything. So not that I think that would necessarily happen again this year, but we're like, oh, let's just take it easier. And besides, we still got to go to the team dinner, so we got to see my team at least. So I think that was good enough. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
For next year, we will be back at it with the parties.
Definitely. And what else happened this week? I guess nothing much. It's mostly just preparing for Christmas, the usual, decor / gift wrapping or gift buying and stuff like that.
How's all that going?
Pretty much the same. Planning and scheduling stuff with friends can get a bit tricky as well for Friendsmas. So
Gotcha. I know I'm still just waiting on a few Christmas gifts to arrive in the mail. So I can get those suckers wrapped and under the tree or wherever we're hiding them, if we're not hiding them under the tree.
Yes. As for the gaming side, this week, the only game I've been focusing on is WoW. It's been a good break. Yeah, it's been a good break from our charity streams, and I just wanted to focus on leveling up my character, which is my drag tier. And
Evoker, huh?
Yes, and it is now at level 69.
Oh, you're almost there. So
I know.
Anyone who's not familiar, the max level in that game is 70. So
Yes.
Joanne is right there. She's super close to hitting max level, which in most games you would think, oh, well, it's probably the end of the game and not much to do once you're done leveling or hit the max. But that's really where the game starts for World of Warcraft, which is a little bit different. I know there's a lot of big MMORPGs that are kind of work that same way.
Yeah, like Lost Ark.
Exactly. It just opens up so much more stuff that you can do once you hit that level. So, you're going to be able to stay busy with that one for a lot longer.
Yep.
But you're almost there.
Yes. But that is it for my gaming week. Not much this week, just definitely grinding on my character, WoW character.
That's fair. A slower week makes sense. Mine wasn't as slow. But for me, on the life side of things, like you mentioned, I took a few days off of work because I had a few vacation days to burn before the end of the year, and I had some things I wanted to do with the time off. And one of those was I did a little bit of car shopping, so that was fun. I got to check out a few cars that I was interested in, just kind of first steps into looking around and just seeing, if I like anything that I thought I would like, and was able to narrow down my list a little bit, which is good because I had kind of casted a wide net in terms of the vehicles I was looking at or interested in. So I found some that, when you go there and see it in person and you're like, there's like no space in this thing. So it doesn't really work.
Yeah, sounds like you had a fun time at the car place.
Yeah, it was interesting. Some were good experiences, some were bad experiences. I think one thing that I've noticed is people tend to think I'm a lot younger than I am.
You're saying you look young, yeah.
I mean, that's not always a good thing. And this is kind of one example where I had one particular salesman who didn't want to give me the time of day and basically was not trying at all to try and sell me a vehicle. And then at some point he was like, "You're what, 26?" And I was like, "No, I'm in my 30s, so 31." But yeah, I think I had to basically convince him that I was in a position where I could buy a car.
I don't know if that's have anything to do with your age or more about whether you look like you have money or not.
Maybe, but I mean, he commented about my age, so I figured that had something to do with it. That's the only reason.
Okay.
But it was a interesting experience. It was a fun story to kind of come back and tell you that one, and yeah, it was different. I honestly don't have much experience with car buying, so yeah, it was unique. It was interesting experience for sure. Other than that, on the life side of things, we do have my grandparents who are in town and not staying here, which is okay. They are staying a few miles away at my parents' house. So a lot of people over there right now. That also means we'll get to see them more often, probably over the next week or two, as they'll be here for Christmas
and New
everything.
Year's. Yep.
Speaking of, this will be the last episode to be released before Christmas. So I will go ahead and say, I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas, right?
Yeah.
Probably be a few days after the episode comes out, but that's fine. I definitely don't want to miss that. I want to make sure I say it before it's too late.
Yeah.
I hope Santa treats you well this year. No coal for anybody, hopefully. But now shifting gears over to the gaming side of things, I did get a little bit more gaming in this week. I'm still playing a lot of Marvel Snap. In the last week or so, I even made probably 3 new decks, which is a lot because it had been a while before I had made any decks before that, and I made 3 different ones. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. I'm still making a variety of different decks and kind of switching things up. Still collecting some cards, although it's slowed down a lot. There's a few games that just get really interesting with how some of the locations play with some of the cards that I'm using. And I don't know, every once in a while I'll just have a really interesting game. And I'm kind of hooked. There's also a ranking system. So you have a rank. And if you lose games, that goes down. And if you win games, your rank goes up. And there's a few other guys that I know that are playing the game, and they both somehow, they haven't been playing it as long as me, but they both somehow have a way higher ranking than me. So I am trying to catch up to them and just struggling. I think I'm in the low 40s. And then I know one of the guys I'm talking to is low or mid 50s. So I'm just trying to catch up to him. That's the competitive side of me, helping keep me along with the game. Also, still playing a little bit of Hearthstone, kind of mostly just enough to get the daily and weekly quests done. I feel like I'm definitely still pulled more towards Marvel Snap right now, which I'm surprised by because even with the latest Hearthstone expansion, although it's fun, don't get me wrong, I like the new Death Knight classes that they added to Hearthstone, but not as much as I thought I would. I am also, like Joanne, playing a decent amount of World of Warcraft. Although I have been splitting my time up between a couple of different characters, so I'm not as close to hitting max level as you. I have one character at level 68, and I have another character, I think, at level 65. So I'm sure I'll get one of them to 70 pretty soon. Although I almost guarantee you are going to beat me to it. You're a lot closer. And then the last game that I've been playing this week is God of War, which I have almost only good things to say about. I'm really enjoying the combat. Like I mentioned last week, I'm playing it on the Give Me God of War difficulty, which is the hardest difficulty you can pick from, which is making this game really tough. It's kind of to the point where I die in like two or three hits. It's like almost, it feels like Dark Souls-ish because of that, although you don't necessarily drop everything in game when you die like you do in Dark Souls games, but still, how easy it is to die is it's astonishing. Another, I guess, one complaint that I have, I'm still enjoying the harder difficulty. I'm not going to lower it just yet. If I really can't get past something, then I'm going to lower that difficulty down. But so far, I don't know how far I'm into the game. I am probably 10 to 15 hours in, maybe. And one thing that I've noticed, so this God of War Ragnarok kind of takes on a lot of the puzzle mechanics that they had in the last God of War, 2018, where you just kind of have to figure out how to advance or like how to get past something. It's not necessarily like combat related, but just you have to pull levers and throw your axe at stuff to make things move, or do certain things in order to get to the next platform or whatever. And I've noticed in this one a lot more often. I don't really remember this from the last one, but when you come up to something like that, I like the puzzle challenge of like trying to figure it out. Of like, oh, what do I need to do here to make this thing turn to, open this gate or whatever, right? And then now I've noticed pretty quickly, Atreus will start blurbing out basically a clue. It's like, oh, what if you throw your axe at this geyser and freeze it? And I'd be like, darn it, Atreus, I wanted to figure that out. I like, don't ruin it for me. I'm still working on it over here. So I kind of wish it didn't do that, or like you could somehow turn that off. And sometimes it's nice because it's helped me get past something that I couldn't really figure out. Maybe I was getting stressed out about it, but for the most part, like I enjoy figuring those things out, and then I feel like they just kind of give it away because he's always like, "Oh, I see something over here," and it's like, "Oh yeah, it's right there. Thank you for basically pointing it out to me." So I don't know. That's the only thing. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, that's God of War for me right now. Still plugging away at that one. I know we have another activity planned for y'all later, but before we do that, shall we get through the new game releases?
Yes, let's do that.
All right. I'll start with new game releases. We have Wavetale on all consoles and PC. Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion on all consoles and PC. Gris on PS5, Xbox Series X and S. High on Life on Xbox Series X and S, Xbox One and PC. Neon White on PS5 and 4. Night in the Woods, and that is Night starting with an N, so not a Knight in Shining Armor, on PS5. Overland on PS5 as well. Lil Gator Game on Switch and PC. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt on PS5, Xbox Series X and S. And then also The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt Complete Edition on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. Next, we have, I don't know if it's AKA or AKA, because it's not in all caps, so it makes me think it's AKA, or it could be AKA, on Switch and PC. Blacktail on PS5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC. River City Girls 2 on all consoles and PC. Resident Evil 7 Biohazard coming to Switch. Wowzers. Any of those sound interesting to you?
The Night in the Woods sound interesting, but I haven't even looked at a trailer.
That sounds a little scary to me.
You know my kind of genre.
Spooky Woods. It sounds like Slenderman or something.
Yeah.
And how about River City Girls? I have no idea what that would even be about. Or Little Gator Game. That sounds cute. Thinking of like a cartoon little baby gator.
Yeah.
How about Game Pass games? Over to you.
All right. This week on Game Pass Games, Riot Games Game Pass benefits on PC and mobile. High on Life on console, PC, and cloud. That's a day one release.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I want to try out with you, actually.
Yes,
I've heard about it so much. Potion Craft on console and PC. Rainbow Billy, The Curse of the Leviathan on console, PC, and cloud.
Nice. So just to point out the Riot Games Game Pass benefits, the Riot Games makes a few different games, namely League of Legends and Valorant.
Mm-hmm.
And what they're doing there is those games are free to play, but anyone who has Game Pass can now play those games and basically have like all the characters unlocked, which especially in League of Legends, that's a lot of characters. Otherwise, if you were to make like a brand new account, you would, I think they start you off with only one character, I want to say, one champion. Whereas this way, you have access to all of them and you don't have to grind for them. You don't have to pay money for them.
Hopefully that's how it comes out, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard. And that's really interesting because I used to play League of Legends a lot, in college and a little bit after college. I used to be really into that game, and then I hadn't played it for a long time, and then I couldn't get access to my account. And I was like, well, I don't want to start from scratch all over again with like no characters. And then all of a sudden this happens. So I'm like, oh, wow, I could play it and have all those characters unlocked and everything. Like that's way more appealing to me now than having to start from scratch. So I think that's really cool that that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I may check that out.
Yeah.
And then like you said, High on Life, that's a day one release. Yeah. That is by the creators of Rick and Morty, the television show. So kind of a lot of that crude humor, and it looks fun and funny as long as you're okay with a little bit of crude humor. Some bad words in there as well, so not one that we would play with or around the kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I think one that we could play together and probably get a kick out of it.
I can't wait to try it.
Yeah, we're going to try that one out pretty soon.
Yeah.
But that is it for Game Pass games. What do you have for us, Joanne?
So I figured since today it's a shorter podcast episode, right?
Right.
Decided to go back to the card game, Our Moments, couple edition.
It's been a little while since we've done one of these, right?
Yep. So I just have a couple questions.
Sure.
And kind of let our listeners know us better this way.
Mm-hmm.
As well as me knowing you better too. So
that is always a benefit when you're talking about your spouse. Always make an effort to understand them more and learn more about them. Mm-hmm. And these cards are an awesome way to do that.
Yes.
And to facilitate some great and interesting and fun, usually, conversations.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's go. Let's get started.
Okay, so the first question is, what do you love about your hometown? Of course, be sure to mention what hometown and stuff too.
Yeah, so when I was probably 8 or 9, I think, we moved to a city in California called Ladera Ranch. I would probably consider that my hometown because I don't really remember very much, like, at all about like the towns they lived in before that.
Mm-hmm.
And then we lived there for 20 to 25 years, like in that area at least. So I would definitely consider that where I grew up.
True.
And what I loved about it was, at least back then, I don't know if it's still the case, it was considered very safe. And like, me as like in middle school and high school, before driving, could basically just take my bike or scooter or rollerblades or whatever and just go from my house up to, the different shopping centers or over to friend's house. Like it was really easy to get through and across town just by using various, walking paths and stuff. It wasn't like I had to, walk alongside like a busy road, like for miles, it's way more foot traffic friendly, especially compared to a city like Houston.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, I want to walk right across the street. It's like, okay, there's no sidewalk. There's like not even like a bike lane. It's just like you and a bunch of fast moving cars if you want to walk like right alongside them. So up to you. Like here I'd be like, I don't really want my kids like walking, like it's a lot harder to walk places here basically versus like where I grew up, which was really nice when you couldn't really drive at that age. So I loved it. Like there was this one trail and I had friends that lived all along it. So we would just use that to get to and from each other's house. That's probably what I liked about it the most. But what about you?
Cool. Well, my hometown is in Miri, which is a city in Malaysia. And what I love most about my hometown is that everything is so close to one another. I would say, like, I especially love that my house was just about like 10-15 minutes from the seaside. And
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And so was my workplace. So like during lunch break, I could actually like leave my workplace to have lunch by the sea and come back, It's very relaxing that way. And I'm a very big fan of island places and seasides.
Yeah. That tropical setting.
Tropical setting, yes. Yeah. And it's the sea, not the ocean. So the waves were smaller, calmer,
Sure. Yeah.
And it's very just relaxing. So that's what I love most about my hometown. And also my high school was actually very close to a cliff overlooking the sea. So even during like recess or something, I could like just look beyond this vast sea.
Yeah, I don't think I know of like any schools that they build here like that close to the ocean.
Yeah.
Or the water. I feel like they reserve that land or property for like resorts or like billionaires or something.
That is true. I didn't think about that.
Like, let's put the schools in the valleys and wherever else that is probably cheaper too. But that would be really cool to be that close to the water at school too.
Yeah, definitely one of my fondest memories.
That's awesome. Well, I hope to go back there with you and see it one day.
Yes, hopefully I could bring you to see this hometown of mine.
Yes, to Miri, Malaysia.
So next question. If you drop everything right now,
including
the kids, and went on a road trip, where would you go?
Oh. Gosh. I guess it's if it's right now and we're talking December. I was thinking about saying Colorado because it's not all that far and I like a lot of places in Colorado, but I don't know if I'd want to be there like in the winter time. I think it's probably a little too cold this time of year up there. So I'd probably just say like just to enjoy like the road as far as like the trip. I was thinking maybe just driving to California, driving to the ocean and back. That sounds like fun. Although most of that drive is not pretty, like West Texas, New Mexico, Arizona. Unless like you're going like visiting the Grand Canyon or something, there's not really a lot along that stretch. That's like nice to look at. So, but hey, I guess I would be driving with you, so there would be plenty of beauty around.
Oh, you flatter me. For me, I've always wanted to go to Yosemite. I don't know how it is during the winter. I bet it's still beautiful, right? But
I mean, it should be beautiful, but it would be snowing, yeah.
Yeah, but Yosemite is one place where I really want to go on a road trip with you.
I'm down. I love Yosemite.
Maybe when the kids are older, we could.
Yeah, I haven't been there for a long time, but I do remember is one of my favorite places.
Yep. My friend was there recently, so I saw her Instagram page, and I'm like, oh, it's so pretty. But yes.
You'll get to see it at some point, for sure.
Definitely. Plus, it's in the country, so no passports required. Easy.
Yeah. There's so many places here we could visit without having to leave the country.
Oh, but that is all for the questions that I have tonight.
Okay, well, that keeps it easy then. That means episode 48 is in the books. we just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas, followed by a Happy New Year, although we will have an episode out before New Year's.
Mm-hmm.
But before we let you go, we'll just run through where you can find us really quickly.
You can find us on our Instagram page at gamer_parents_podcast. That is where we share screenshots of our game session, announcements, milestones, cooking from the World of Warcraft cookbook, and many other stuff related to our life and gaming.
You can also find us on Twitter at twitter.com/gamerparentspod, where you could find us posting a bunch of random stuff about games or parenting, and even some memes. You can find us over on YouTube on the Gamer Parents Podcast channel. You can also catch our weekly live streams over on Twitch at twitch.tv/gamerparentspod, where we stream every Tuesday night at 9:30 p.m. Central Time. That's usually a lot of fun. We're usually playing variety of different games. Lately, a bit of World of Warcraft.
Mm-hmm.
Although we'll get back to doing more variety, and then we'll also be talking about a lot of those games on these podcast episodes.
Yep.
But wherever you're checking us out, if you could give us a like, follow, subscribe, whatever it is, wherever it is, we greatly appreciate it. The best place to come hang out with us would be in the Discord channel, which the link for that would be in the episode description or in the YouTube video description if you're listening over there. But that is all that we have for you this time. We hope you guys have a Merry Christmas.
Yes. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.